Hello, racing fans, and welcome to our Gallop TV preview show for Saturday, where it is Turffontein, and it is a big race day with 10 races carded, all beginning at 12 o'clock. Of course, Turffontein will race alongside Hollywoodbets Durbanville. And then on Sunday, it is a massive weekend, the biggest weekend in Quebec, and really nice to see that festival back on that Friday and Sunday. Of course, Sunday will be their main event, the Algoa Cup, and Alistair's been there a few times. I've been there in the past when we race over the 2 days, and it's just wonderful for that part of the world. And I must tell you that although it doesn't do justice on what we see on the television sets, you have to be on course. Years gone by, Alistair, welcome to the show, and to you, the racing fan, welcome. But Alistair, you'd have fond memories of those 2 days like I have.
Oh, Deez, you know what? I've never had a bad day going to PE. I've never dragged my knuckles waking up early in the morning to fly down to PE because of the quality of people that are down there. They're so welcoming. They're different class. Luciano obviously runs the show, but with Karen and Marilyn, the two ladies that really make you feel like royalty. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what your involvement is. It's not called the Friendly City for nothing. I remember starting up in Joburg in 2010 and arriving in August. Obviously, August, September, October can be quiet months in Joburg. So my first, big day under employment was actually Algoa Cup in 2010. And you won't believe it, V Moodley gave me a suit to wear. V's double my size. And I had the suit dripping off me walking around Fairview Racecourse. Won my career. It was called Hawk's Eye that year in 2010. Was also, I'd met Alan Schoolman obviously travelling to Flamingo Park before, but the first time I went down to PE, called a couple of races. I called the third race, which was won by Platinum Racing. Jockeys Governor was at the helm back then. Never had a bad day down there. There've been some good winners of that race. These, don't forget, some July winners have won that. Dunford being a case in point, and also a few place getters in the July. Red Badgers won the Algoa Cup. It's no mean feat to win down there, and it's fiercely competitive. The best of the best from PE, probably not quite grade one horses for the Cape Summer that'll be making their way down. I think that a few of the Cape trainers that are going down have quite strong hands, so looking forward to tuning on Sunday.
Yeah, and I don't know if it still happens, but don't go away after the loss. Stay for the after party, wherever it happens on course at Fairview. Race number 1, Alistair, 1,200 meters, 10 races carded, so we're looking to bank some cash here. Doesn't form part of the exotics. 1160 is the distance, and this is it. Let's see how they're betting here, Alistair. Number 5 is at 5-2, 6 at 8-1, 8 at 7-2, and then this first timer called Garlands of Greenery. I don't know if you got your ear on the ground. 11-2 into 28-10. All I know is that the horse was an 800,000 rand purchase. I looked up the pedigree. The dam was a one-time win over 2,000 meters. There are no siblings to use as a yardstick. So what do we expect is the comments from the stable to come through on race day, and maybe it could match the betting support. But what do you think?
Well, Deez, obviously, there are a few things that you've got to take on trust in this race. First of all, Virgin River, number 5, and her well-being. The Sean Terry dynamic of money coming for number 11, Garlands of Greenery. Despite having a little bit of substance to the pedigree, obviously a Met winner from, nearly 20 years ago, Imperious Sue, is in that family, but she was probably the only one from the family that really ripped up trees. And then number 8, Wonder I Do, although looks like she's running moderate races, and I don't think this is totally moderate. The form run of the last run is good because the third horse, Regal Daughter, came out and ran second, and the horse who ran second has come out and won. So, Wonder I Do was just in behind those good performances. So there's a lot at play here. What I will mention about number 11, Garlands of Greenery, coming from Sean Terry's yard, this is not the Sean Terry way if it's stable money. Sean doesn't get stuck in sort of 24 hours before the race. He's more of a race time type of guy. So someone obviously knows something, likes something, heard something about number 11, Garlands of Greenery, and that's got to be taken on board. Outside draw down the straight of Turffontein. There has been rain around this week, so that's definitely an advantage, or definitely what's perceived to be the right place to be. So my best guide is watch number 11, Gardens of Greenery, go down to the start. If there is a follow-through in the support, then I'll be a total believer. If there's a drift just before race time, then I will probably sidestep her, have a look at number 5, Virgin River, and also number 8, Wonder I Do.
Okay, I'm going to give you the value in the race, purely on the strength of the form line. Number 2, Levitator, I know has also been off. New Mexico's won, Alistair. Viva Spirit has won. Caretaker has won. Subsequent winners, Daring Jet, Sugar Blast here in KZN has now gone back to back. Nicely drawn. Levitator, been off for July. I think, against this type of field, the horse is priced up at 16 to 1, and I had to take that betting down, and I think that is certainly worth an inclusion in all bets. But Alistair saying 5-8, wait for 11, Fitness. How well is number 5? It looks like a trifecta quartet race. Nothing on the head there, race number 1, unless there's supreme confidence passed on from the course about the first timer. Race number 2, 1160. How they're betting here. Number 1 is at 6 to 1, 2 at 3 to 1. Then we go on to, yep, that is it. That is it, Alistair. Can you believe it? Unless I missed something. Well, race number 2, I'm just going to refresh that because I'm almost certain that I could have missed something here. 6 to 1, 3 to 1. Yeah, that is it. No, so number 8 is at 7 to 1. Apologies. 8 is at 7 to 1. 9 is at 6 to 1. I knew I missed something here. And then 11 is a 4 to 1 shot. So I'm gonna say something, Alistair, and I'm gonna hand it over to you. I am on course on Saturday, just on behalf of Darlin, with number 2 Walled Garden, and all I can tell you is that we know first time out there was money for the horse, and there were valid excuses on the way the individual raced. But the stable are giving this 10 out of 10 for Saturday, and I'm hoping to be at Turffontein to possibly lead in a winner. So I'm all in here, number 2 Walled Garden.
Well, I can see why, Dees, because, Candace Dawson's horse won that race, Champimpy, and the expectations were that Champimpy would run well, but the noise about number 2, Walled Garden, the way that he looked going down to the start, that piqued the interest and obviously became an area of concern for Champimpy and a few other fancied horses in the race. And it was so backwards, so inexperienced, so unlucky that I'd expect second time out, if he's learned anything, he doesn't have to learn much. If he's learned anything, he doesn't even have to come on. Just if he's learned anything, that he will take all the beating. Piers Stratham takes it out for Joey Soma. I smile when they team up because of their history, their checkered history, best of mates, best of enemies, worst of mates, worst of enemies, I don't know. But good to see them reunited with number 2, Walled Garden. The first run was very good. He stayed on really strongly. A little bit surprised to see him back in a sprint second time out, but that would be the Soma way before Walled Garden takes the potential step to up and distance, which looks like would be preferable for the son of Flower Alley. Gotta like him. He's not quite a bar pot banker, but I think there's a little bit of strength and depth in this race. 11 William Blake is interesting to me. Although in the cold light of day, the form to Biofarmer is a little bit weak. Biofarmer probably pushed Tail of the Comet closest so far this season. So I have respect for number 11 William Blake, but there's no doubt who's top of my list is number 2 Walled Garden.
Numbers 2 and 11 for Alistair, and I'm going to go all in there. Race 2, horse number 2, currently trading at 3 to 1. Race 3 starts off the place accumulator. It's over 1,600 meters. This is a maiden plate. Number 2, Downey at 4 to 1. 3 at 9 to 2. Then we go on to number 4 at 5 to 1. 9 at 33 to 10. 10 at 3 to 1. And that is it. Well, we spoke about Thunny Player. That was for Tuesday's race meeting, Alistair, which was, abandoned due to weather, etc. Is he form part of your play again? Because I'll tell you what, I had a word with owner Manu Pandaram during the course of the week, and he was very bullish about this horse.
I'm not surprised, Dees. Just to the eye, what that horse did first time out, he's going to materialize into a nice horse. He's actually my top selection here for a number of reasons. I think this is a hot maiden. There are lots in here with chances, and I think the race is going to take some winning. But that race on Tuesday for Penic Plate was due to be on the inside track at Turffontein, which worried me a little bit. On the stand side track, my worries are alleviated to quite an extent. Serena Moodley takes it right. Lovely to see him up in Joburg. He's hit the ground running this season. I think he's got a very good team behind him. I mentioned for Tuesday's preview that Penic Plate is obviously related to Sandringham Summit. The mother's a half-sister to Sandringham Summit, the form of Cavaleria. And yeah, I think there's a lot to come from Penic Plate. Again, I hope that he's not too wet behind the ears in the early stages. If he just travels a little bit better, I think the extra 150 metres, like I said, the stand side track, all serves him well. But I don't think it's going to be a golden highway. Number 4, No Place Like Home's got the profile to suggest that a win's got to be around the corner. So I'd loathe to leave him out, although I think that the improvers might have his measure. But I've got number 4, No Place Like Home, and he's a full brother to Shoemaker. And I'm convinced what I saw on Saturday in the Allied Steel Road on a Mission Charity Mile, that Shoemaker is going to win something this season. And I'm not talking just like a Pinnacle Stakes. I don't know about Grade 1, but I think Shoemaker's on his way back to his best, and he's dangerous at his best. And then number 2, Donny. I must confess, if Donny was drawn better, I'd actually banker him, because his best run came over a mile. I think it's been a bit of a stop-start career for the son of Pomodoro, but his best run to William Ironarm, that's one of the strongest juvenile form lines in Joburg from last season. Back to sprints, he was flat. I think going back to a mile, expect better now that the yard is probably not firing 10 out of 10 capacity, probably 8 out of 10 capacity, but upping the stats almost every race meeting. Number 2, Donny, is a big worry for me. So 2 and 10 to fight it out, but I've also got time for number 4.
I like your thoughts on number 10. Alistair, you're much younger. You're a non-smoker, so your memory is never clouded like mine is. Can you remember on Tuesday what that distance was with Penic Plate was going to run in?
It was a 14.50, I think.
Okay, this is a mile. This is a mile, Alistair. Stand side track mile, the way he was finishing. Come on, 3-1. Let's go with the confidence that Manu Pandaran gave me. But I respect your thoughts on number 2, Donny, because that is a massive runner over this distance. This horse has been crying out for the extra distance. 2 and 10 for Alistair, but this is a mile now. So the way he was finishing last time out, hopefully it is Penic Plate and Donny that will fight it out. Race number 3. Race number 4, pick 6, 1,800 meters. Number 1, 7-2, 2 at 2-1, 3 at 8-1, 4 is 8-1, 5 is 33-10, and then Jordan is 7-2. What are we doing in the first leg of the pick 6? I'm sure we'll get a sizable pool. I know we're racing alongside Hollywoodbets Durbanville, so the spend is split between the 2 centers. But having a look at this race card, there will be many takers.
Yeah, feature race card, obviously, with the Bull until the Betway Summer Cup, and this is a hot little race. There's a target on the back of Sandringham Summit, Main Defender, Tail of the Comets, as far as the 3-year-old colts are concerned. But there'll be a few dreamers in this race, the likes of Purple Pitcher, We Are the Logans, Jordan, very interesting for me. And I've banked Jordan in my bar pot, which is my suggested bet. But as far as the pick 6 is concerned, number 2, Purple Pitcher, definitely needs to go in. And I'd probably also include the other Peter runner, number 5, House of Romanov. I think We Are the Logans might be biting off a bit more than he can chew, going 1,800 metres for the first time this season. That sounds like a bit of a stretch, whereas House of Romanov is establishing himself this season. So as far as the pick 6 is concerned, 2, 5 and 7. But Barpot, I'm keen to bank number 7, Jordan. I hope Peter Sunday Ollie's all right after his fall on Thursday at Turffontein. I actually spoke to him after the last race on Thursday. He said he's got a couple of aches and pains and was going in for checks, but he was compos mentis and with it, and certainly didn't sound any worse for wear. Lightweight, progressive horse on that last run to House of Romanov. Jordan comes in here 2 kilos better off, and I'm of the opinion that Jordan's improving, developing, and House of Romanov might have a chink in his armour going 1,800 metres on the stand side track, whereas I think Jordan could be better equipped for it with his big, long, loafy stride, and he'll be chasing down number 5, House of Romanov. So I like this horse, number 7, Jordan Dees. He's a banker in the PA and the bar pot. Like I said, pick 6, I've got a few numbers that I'd want to include, but he really interests me. I think that 6 months down the line, this horse Jordan could be something.
Well, I like the look of this pick six today, Alistair, especially if you can try and minimize your spend. So I'll just be jotting down some numbers as you chat, and if it's worth the spend, I'll read it out, if it's worth the spend. So this leg, I've jotted down 3 numbers, just listening into Alistair, 2, 5, and 7. Race number 5, 2,400 meters, merit rated 84 handicap. This is the start of Jackpot 1. Number 2, Breeze Over, is at 5-2, 3 at 7-1. 4 at 28-10, 5 at 6-1, 6 is at 5-2, and then it is double figures the Bella. Surely we can try and narrow things down here, Alistair, because there are horses that are in very good form that I think should hold their form against this company.
So I have quite a strong opinion in this race, Dees, mainly because I think how the race is going to pan out. I've got 2 and 6 in my bar box, so they're the 2 horses that are most interesting, but the reason why I'm most keen on number 2, Breeze Over, is Absolute Value might have his race ruined by a fraud. You know, these 2 horses, their only way, their best way, their best chance of winning is to head off to the front and be difficult to beat. And from their draws, there's no way that either of them are going to be restrained. If they go and cut through it, then that's advantage number 2, Breeze Over, who wears blinkers for the first time in a while. Funny enough, his form with and without blinkers pretty much steady. But if Absolute Value is allowed a picnic, or even if he allows a fraud to go around him and take the lead, and Absolute Value sits behind him, that's not a bad thing either. But I hope they both don't have the idea of we've got to get to the front at all costs. Like I said, if Absolute Value does get to the front, does get a cheap lead, and if a fraud leaves him alone, Absolute Value could be a hard horse to beat. So that's why I've got the safety net out. But with regards to number 2, Breeze Over, look, he's been costly to follow. I still can't believe every time I look at his stats that he's a one-time winner. But Muzieni sticks with him. On that last run to a fraud, the task that a fraud's got to stay in front of him, and I think he got away with one with a very lightweight to the fraud. I think Breeze Over will turn that form around. On the run on the 26th of September, the weight suggests that Breeze Over will turn it around with the rule book. So that for me, there's a lot in his favour. It might just be a confidence horse, number 2, Breeze Over. But the other factor here is that he just looks to be a better horse on the stand side track than on the inside track. His only win came on the stand side track. The bulk of his places have come on the stand side track. So as far as the bar pot and PA is concerned, I'm happy with the stance of numbers 2 and 6, Breeze Over and Absolute Value. If you're looking for something in the pick 6, a fraud, I suppose, does need to go in for the same reasons that Absolute Value is a player, but he's got an extra 7 kilos to lug round. I know the race was perceived to be a lot weaker because there he ran to Blackthorn. Blackthorn was best of the rest in the Java Stakes on Saturday. So there's enough substance to the former number 5 of fraud, but I do just worry about the fact that he's got a little bit more weight to carry. Philip Labuschagne is now at the helm of a fraud, by the way. Stephen Moffat is taking a break from training, unfortunately. He is such a superstar of a person. His son's going to be working alongside Chris Jonker. Anthony does want to become a trainer, but Stephen's gone down some way river to go and sit on the farm for a while he reassesses and decides what he wants to do. So all the best to Mr. Moffat. Always love chatting to him. So let's see how he goes with Labuschagne. But yep, 2 and 6 for me, Dees. I like those 2 with Breeze Over, a strong first selection.
2 and 6. I think that is going to be it for the pick 6. 2 and 6. If you're looking for one more, and maybe number 4. I think let's put in the 4. 2, 4, and 6 in the pick 6. Race 6, 1,000 meters, National Colour Stakes. Well, we need a whole show to talk about National Colour and her CV and what she achieved. But I have some really nice memories of her. Number 1, Alula Star at 7-1. 2 at 7-1. 4 at 33-10, 5 at 22-10, 6 at 5-1, 7 at 6-1, and then it is 10-1 and better the balance. No matter what you're going to tell me in this race, there's one number that I've already written down in the pick 6, and that's horse number 7. I'm not leaving that out regardless. That's no filter. Never Hasten and the Inform Cabello. But what's your numbers here, Alistair?
4 and 5 here, Dees. I can have 6 and 7 as well. I think the race revolves around them, with time for number 2 Flower Bomb with blinkers and being freshened up. You're not the freest mover as number 2 Flower Bomb, so maybe the break will do her a world of good. Alula Star, I'm sure, will be teeing up the Magnolia on Summer Cup Day, so I think this, even though she ran 4th in this race last year, I think this race will probably set her up for Summer Cup Day. Top selection here is number 4, Moon Shining Through, by quite a margin here, D's. Jan Janssen van Vuren and Gavin Lorena team up. She's held her form. She's run to Captain Hansard twice. Captain Hansard ran second the Golden Loom a week earlier. I think the Golden Loom might have been a slightly stronger race of what Moon Shining Through runs in here. So that's my line of thinking for this daughter of Rafif. When she's she's generally unlucky. She's not the easiest in the stalls. I remember that day on the 25th of August, 2022, when she nearly crawled under the starting stalls and got declared a run, and she's still able to beat 2 horses home. So that's just the raw ability that number 4 Moon Shining Through has. But I think if everything falls into place, then she'll be the horse to beat. 5 Golden Sickle is a real speedball. I don't know if the track's going to be running fast enough for her, but she's got the advantage of a high number draw. She's 9 out of 9 down the Turffontein Standside Straight, so that could propel her to being a big chance, number 5 Golden Sickle. If not winning, she's consistent enough to respect her chances, and I think she's still developing. So they're the 2 horses that I'm most keen on. I look at Ice Star and I say, I don't really like you, but Samanga Kamala is down to 53 kilos to ride this daughter of William Longsword. The last time I chatted to Samanga, he rode 54 and he said he was starving. So here's an extra kilo for him to drop to. So just for those that think a little bit out the box, maybe number 6 Ice Star warrants respect as well. But 4 Moon Shining Through, an established sprinter, she holds the aces here for me.
4 and 5 for Alistair. I like 7, so I'm not leaving out the bridge 6. Can't leave that out. How many times that bridge has come to catch me in the past? 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'm happy with that for the pick 6. And then on to the main event, which is the Bectway Victory Moon Stakes. It's a Group 3 over 1,800 meters. A stake is 400,000. And if you find yourself in the winner's enclosure, you will bag 250K. How are they betting here? Number 2 is 8 to 1. 6 at 8 to 1. Then we got a horse backed into 22 to 10. Number 9, Atticus Finch. That was from 5 to 2. 11 is at 7 to 1. 12 at 8 to 1. And it is 10 to 1 and better the balance. This horse, Atticus Finch, I think he deserves the airtime that we're going to give him here. He just had the 1 run as a juvenile. He had a few runs as a 3-year-old. There was potential. But he seems to have come into his own now as a 4-year-old Alistair on a hat-trick. And the way he's winning his races, I'm not going to say that he's going to aim for the top, but the way he's winning his races, he could definitely be aimed at those feature races because he's a shortener now in the Betway Summer Cup.
I made no bones about it, and this is a little bit of a smoke blowing for myself. But when Atticus Finch won at the VAR, won as maiden at the VAR, I was so impressed with him. He looks like a horse. He's got the demeanor to be a nice horse, and he's not disappointed me. I remember when he ran his first win back in July when beating Tizona. I even said in the commentary, this is one of my favorite horses in South Africa, and I'm going to follow him because he's got feature race written all over him. I think he could go to the top. And if he does win a Grade 1, it's probably going to be a race like the Betway Summer Cup. And weirdly, with his rating of 107, if he wins here, he's still going to be under sufferance in the Summer Cup due to the compressed weights. But I'm not joking. I think the world of this horse, number 9, Atticus Finch. So if I'm going to follow through and back up my judgment of this horse from well over a year ago, then I've got to believe that he's going to be a big player in the Betway Victory Moon Stakes. And if you look at past winners of this race, it's much like the Greyville 1900 just before the Hollywoodbets Durbanville. Not necessarily the best horse wins. The horse that's most desperate to get into the Hollywoodbets Durbanville, or a horse that's bubbling under the radar, that's not quite been exposed by the handicapper. Those are the type of horses that win that. Or, if you look at the best weighted column, fillies and mares also have a very good record in this race. And number 7, none other, also bears watching. But I believe number 9, Atticus Finch, is unexposed. I believe that even though the handicappers woken up to the ability of the son of Master and My Fate. Again, he could only get £6 for winning a Pinnacle Stakes last time out, so he could still be ahead of the curve. Calvin Habib drops down to 52 kilos. Much like Simango Kamale, that's a big ask for Calvin, but he's obviously committed to riding number 9 Atticus Finch in this race. I heard a whisper that he's committed to riding Atticus Finch in the Big Bay Summer Cup, so no surprise to see him show that commitment this time around. I think the world of Indies, and on the last run, he finished in front of Electric Gold Litigation, last year's winner, Nebraska, East Coast, and Billy Bowlegs, and he comes in here with similar weight terms. Litigation's got a slight swing at the weights, but he's got 3.5 lengths to turn around with Atticus Finch. There's a lot pointing to this horse. One-way traffic, it never is in this race, so these are my backup numbers. I've got quite a few. 2 Billy Bowlegs was my early Summer Cup horse. In fact, it was my Summer Cup horse before the Hollywoodbets Durbanville. His first run for the yard was a stinker, but I'm going to give him another chance or two. So 2 Billy Bowlegs goes in. 3 Nebraska is capable of winning a race like this, although I think this is teeing him up for potentially the Summer Cup and a trip to Cape Town. Last year's winner, number 6, Litigation. I liked enough of that last run to put him into the play. And then number 13, River Romeo. I might have totally lost the plot, but he beat Puerto Manzano. I know an unfit Puerto Manzano, but he beat Puerto Manzano last time. He's got no weight on his back, number 13, River Romeo. He's got the odd claim to fame as well, so there's a chance that at the price, number 13, River Romeo, nice quartet springer to make things pay. I also think that he's probably under the curve as far as ratings are concerned.
You know what we're going to do, Alistair? You know what we're going to do? I'm telling you, this is what we're going to do for the Gallop TV preview show, because I've listened into your preview of this race, and you've made sense of almost everything you said. And I'm just going to add to what you're saying. Last time out, I know the horses carried 50 kgs. But when you look at that race, and you mentioned the maximum was £6, the horses that he beat that day were rated 120, like Safe Passage. There was 118s, now 117 in Billy Bowlegs, 115s, 111s. You go to that field, have a look at it. Just pull out that form line of that last start. So what did he really achieve in that race? I'm certain, I can't do the math right now, but I'm certain it's much more than a 107 against what he beat. Let's take a chance here, Alistair. I'm going to bank at a 9 in the pick 6 for Gallop TV in race number 7. Are you happy with that?
I'm a big fan of the horse. I wouldn't put you off, Dees.
Okay, for the show, we are going to banker the 9. Race number 8, 1160, Pinnacle Stakes. We go to the best weighted column, and you'll see it's dominated by the fillies. But this is the betting. Number 3 at 6-1, 4 at 8-1. Number 7, Miss Browning, is at 22-10. By the way, William Robertson, number 1, Hollywoodbets 11-2 into 9-2, and Mercantor, number 2, at 7-1. So the fillies are at the top of the best weighted column, but marginally ahead of the boys. How are we playing this?
I think William Robertson is easily the best horse in the race here, Dees. I know that he's earned the weight. He's got to give weight away, but if he's at his best, it's absolutely no contest. Number 1, William Robertson. He's grade 1 placed in the Mercury Sprint to Captain's Ransom. He's such a good, solid horse. So I'd expect him to deliver a big run, number 1, William Robertson. The horse that I can see him giving the most to think about is number 7, Mrs. Browning, with only 50.5 kilos on her back. I know she made heavy weather of winning her last start when everything was in her favor. Graduation Plate, she was weighted an absolute penalty kick. She won. She just won, but I think now she'll think she's loose with 50.5 kilos on her back. So for me, 1 and 7, going to keep that nice and tight, keep it simple. One other potentially Bon Vivant, number 6, who ran behind Dice, and Dice a fluent listed winner just a week earlier. But 1 William Robertson, in my mind, a hard horse to beat, if even 90% right.
1 and 7 for Alistair, and I like the fact that he gave a brief mention to number 6. So I'm going to go 1, 6, and 7 for the Gallop TV prize. Looking good. It's not an expensive perm thus far, and we move along to race number 9. It's over 1160. By the way, just for you racing fans, with 10 races carded, I omitted to mention that the Jackpot 2 begins in race number 7. I just saw that now. Jackpot 2 begins in race 7, which is the Betway Victory Moon Stakes, a Group 3. So races 7, 8, 9, and 10 is the perm you need to work out. We're on to race number 9. It's over 1160. Fillies and Mares, a 76 handicap. And this is it. Number 1 at 8 to 1, 2 at 5 to 2, 3 at 7 to 1. 5 at 6 to 1. There is money. Hollywoodbets anti-post for My Lady Soul. And that's from 12 to 1 into 8 to 1. And we go on to number 8 at 8 to 1. And that is it. It's 10 to 1 and better the balance. Let me tell you this. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 times 3 will give you 108. That is what our perm is costing. We got some money to spend in the 9th. Are we going short or are we going wide?
No, look at the race. Look at it. How are you going to go short in this race? This has got a lot of traps around it, D's. It's hard to put a pen through any of these because they've all got their chances. I mean, almost like Golden Aspen, despite giving weight away, has got a high number draw. There will be Sting out of the ground as well. Number 1, Golden Aspen really appeals to me. So too does number 9, Dancing Dora with Muzieni on board. Fani Bronco's trains. I've been following her for a while. Coming down just another pound in the ratings. I know that she didn't rip up any trees at Hollywoodbets Greyville just over a month ago, but I think number 9, Dancing Dora is going to be somewhere in the money. But when I look at it, I think number 6, My Lady Soul, I think the money could just about be right. We saw the combination win with Damo Star on Thursday. That was Zaki, Jazzy D, and Caden Brewer. High number draw. I take the stance to say that when she's going to be a racehorse, she'll be a racehorse over more than 1,160 metres. But a race earlier, we got the half-brother Mercantor, who's an established high-level sprinter. So maybe there is something there with number 6, My Lady Soul, back in a sprint. So the support makes me a believer in number 6, My Lady Soul. But to punters, if there's anything on your radar, anything that catches your eye, you're going to need horses in this race. You're going to need to put them in. 13, Aralina, I also believe a big chance as well. Dennis Schwartz, Paul Match, and Mano Pandaram, they team up. That first run out of a maiden was not bad behind Ampersand. There's some useful horses in and around. I think number 13, Aralina, could also be the value in the race. You need horses in the final leg of the PA in pick 6. 6, My Lady Soul, top choice. 1, Golden Aspen, and 9, Dancing Dora to make trifectas, quartets pay. And 13, Aralina, my each-way play.
Okay, I'm going to read out our pick 6 before we move on to race number 10. Guys, this is it. 257, about 246, about 4567. And Alistair Cohen has made a strong case for this horse. He's convinced me. Atticus Finch, a banker to win the main event, the Victory Moon, by 167. By the way, Atticus Finch is number 9. So by 9, by 167, and at the back, well, I'm going to go the field because our perm was costing less. And if you multiply it out, 1,728 Rand is the full perm. What I'm basically saying is for 173 Rand, you could possibly get the pick 6 and hope for the worst result in race number 9. How are we closing things off, Alistair? In the 10th race, it's over 1160. Number 1, 8 to 1, 2 at 7 to 1, 3 at 9 to 2, 5 at 9 to 2, 7 at 8 to 1, number 9 at 11 to 2. And then there's some money here. Hollywoodbets anti-post for Anytime Champ. That has shortened from 33 to 1 into 20 to 1. Can we end things off on a high with possibly a quartet or a trifecta? Or have you found something to have a go?
So I'm going to let everyone in on a secret. Sorry, Mr. Terry. Number 9, Nera, was quoted to run at that meeting at the Vaal about 2 or 3 weeks ago. They only had one race and they cancelled due to a wet track. And Sean was at the race that day. He won the first race for Jordan on that day. And obviously there was a track inspection. I was standing at the rail and Sean was miffed that the rest of the meeting had been called off. Not because he thought that they got the call wrong. He was miffed with the fact that he thought he had a very, very good book of runners. That was just when the Tarry Yard was curving upwards. And the horse that he was most miffed about was Nera. So here's Nera a few weeks later. The inside draw down the straight worries me a little bit, especially if there is a little bit of rain around. But reading between the lines, I think Sean's got, I don't know about high expectations, but has a fair amount of expectations for this daughter of Vercingetorix, who's related to the horse that the Fortune Australia that came down and won the first leg of the sales incentive race a few years ago in Cape Town just before COVID. So number 9, Nero, genetically has got some value, and also the fact that I think there's some expectations for her to be upwardly mobile, include her in everything. There are a lot in here that you've got to respect. 7 After Hours just keeps popping up with big runs. I'd prefer to see him go around the turn, if I'm honest, but with that said, a win can't be too far away for the son of Bezrin. He's banging at the door. 12 Anytime Champ, I can see the money. He won his debut in good style. He's done nothing since, but his ratings come down to a 59, so I've got respect for the son of What a Wins. In fact, he was very unlucky at his penultimate run. I think a mile last time out may have just stretched him a little bit too much. So coming back to the sprint, I can see why someone would like number 12, Anytime Champ, but I think you've got to tread a little bit warily with him. And the most consistent horse in the race, number 5, Inventrix. But 9, Nero, it's more of a stab at the dark rather than weighing up the pros and cons and what I see in front of me. More out of what I know, I'm going to go with number 9, Nero, to win the final race on the card.
Some good information from behind the scenes. Alistair Cohen sharing that with us with number 9, Nero, and we appreciate that with regards to the Sean Terry runner. So, Alistair, before we say goodbye to you, let's put up your perm, and you've given a bipod, I suspect.
Yep, bipod, which starts in race number 2 on the card. That gets underway at 12:30 to first leg 2 and 11, Walled Guard and William Blake, close to bankering 2. But 2, 4 and 10, Donny, No Place Like Home, and Funny Player. By banker number 7, Jordan. Then in race 5, which is leg 4, 2 and 6, Breeze Over and Absolute Value, again very close to bankering Breeze Over. By 4 and 5, Moonshining Through and Golden Sickle, with respect for a few others. And then the final leg, even though I've talked myself up with Atticus Finch, my numbers in the bipod are going to read slightly differently. 2 Billy Bowlegs, 3 Nebraska, 6 Litigation, 9 Atticus Finch, and 13 River Romeo.
Okay, if you just tuned into this broadcast and you just went, you know what, I just want to see Alistair Cohen's bet for the day, please rewind. Go on to race number 9. At the end of the 9th race, I've given you a pick 6 guide that we worked out just using Alistair Cohen's numbers throughout the race meeting. For me, Alistair, when I look at these 10 races carded, and due to your input and what I see on paper, I think the most excitement for me now is the Victory Moon, because that was Atticus Finch. I think you've built his case very strongly, and I like what you had to say with the Victory Moon and number 9, Atticus Finch. So once you played it wide in your bipod and you've run for cover there, I'm hoping that you think that he is the good horse that he could turn out to be. And I've taken a chance and gone banker in the pick 6. Thank you so much for your time, Alistair.
Thanks, T. It's always a pleasure to all the viewers, to all the punters. I hope that the weekend is great. It's a feast of feature races all over the country, so maybe one to remember.
Thanks to Alistair Cohen, thanks to the team at Gallop TV team, to you, the valued racing fan. Hopefully you have a wonderful weekend. You got lots to play. You spoiled for choice. You in the Western Cape, you in Gauteng, and you in Gqeberha for the 3 race meetings, a doubleheader on Saturday and a standalone on Sunday. From myself, Dees Dynan, until we meet again, you have a blast, make a huge profit, and hopefully it turns out to be a successful weekend for you. And until we meet again, you take care. Salani Gasly.